Greetings from Wisdom Words, a peaceful place to pause and reflect. One tale at a time, we examine timeless teachings about purpose, love, and life here. So, pause, inhale, and let's get started. The first teachings of love are written in pain. We frequently treat love like it's easy. We perceive it to be a continual source of happiness, we believe we understand it, and we want it to be simple. However, the reality is that love is complicated. It is strong, transforming, and occasionally traumatic. A broken heart is not an indication of failure. It serves as a lesson. Life teaches us about our emotional intelligence, our limits, and the depth of our hearts. We only learn from love that tests us. The love that causes us pain, bewilders us, and ultimately wrecks us reveals the whole range of what it means to love deeply. The phrase, "why we are broken first by love," should be clarified to indicate that it is a title or concept being discussed. Love will provide challenges, but it isn't meant to cause pain. It tests our resilience and vulnerability. It reveals patterns that we were unaware of. It makes us face our true needs and desires. Occasionally we have to go through the antithesis of love, pain, disappointment, and separation before we can truly comprehend it. Clarity appears within this area of sadness. A teacher's story of heartbreak. Clara was a woman I once met. Clara had been in what she considered the ideal relationship. They appeared to be completely in sync, laughed, and had similar dreams. Then, suddenly, it was over. Clara was broken. She doubted herself, her decisions, and even what love was all about. After months of thinking back on the event, Clara experienced the following realization. She had learned to appreciate honesty, recognize warning signs, and appreciate the depth of her love as a result of heartbreak. Brokenness had exposed her resiliency. She had learned that love encompasses danger, growth, vulnerability, and delight. Important lessons regarding heartbreak and love. 1. Truth is revealed by heartbreak. Pain reveals what is true and what is not. 2. Vulnerability is crucial. Openness and risk are necessary for love. 3. Loss leads to growth. When we experience and cope with loss, our emotional depth increases. 4. Clarity develops over time. Introspection is frequently the only way to fully understand what love is. An account of regaining strength. A man named Ethan was there. Despite his intense affection, Ethan's devotion was not entirely returned. He felt empty, devastated, and insecure once the relationship ended. He found something surprising in that emptiness, his own power. He discovered what he really wanted in a companion, learned how to love himself, and pursued passions that had been neglected. Even though it was difficult, heartbreak became a teacher. It demonstrated not just what love might deprive him of, but also what it could bestow upon him: fortitude, wisdom, and emotional development. Introspective questions. Take a moment to think. What have I learned about love from my previous heartbreaks? How has my vulnerability influenced my capacity for connection? What facets of myself emerge only when love challenges me? The hardest times in love are often when we learn the most. The ability of heartbreak to change. Breaking your heart is not the end. It is the first step toward a comprehensive comprehension of love. We discover it by being broken. How to be truly loved without losing who we are. How to identify a meaningful relationship. How to deal with happiness and suffering with grace and mindfulness. To truly understand love, one must have bravery, and part of that road includes experiencing heartbreak. A carry-along takeaway. Love won't be fully understood until it breaks you. Heartbreak teaches us about clarity, resiliency, and vulnerability. Your heart becomes ready for future connections that are more genuine and profound by accepting the lessons that come from suffering. We'll look at how to move past loss without losing yourself in the upcoming chapter, and why the process of healing is as important to comprehending love as the heartbreak itself. Recovering without losing yourself. We feel vulnerable, raw, and frequently disoriented after experiencing heartbreak. It can make relationships seem riskier, the world seem smaller, and even our hearts seem strange. However, recovery is achievable. And learning to heal without losing oneself in the process is the secret to real recovery. We are tempted to either cut ourselves off entirely or to seek connection too soon after love breaks us. Both strategies aim to avoid the suffering, but neither promotes real comprehension or development. Avoiding emotions is not the goal of healing. It involves absorbing, comprehending, and allowing them to lead you to a more profound level of self-awareness and future connection. Self-healing significance. When a heartbreak occurs, the loss might make us feel defined. To fill the hole, we could look to other people for approval or affection. We run the risk of reiterating prior trends. Regaining your identity, limits, and values is essential to healing without losing who you are. It's as much a journey of self-discovery as it is of emotional healing. An account of self-recovery. Mia was a woman I once met. Mia abruptly ended an intensely committed relationship. She initially felt lost, believing that she had sacrificed so much of herself that she had lost sight of her true self. Mia gradually started little routines, such as recording her emotions, getting back in touch with friends, and rekindling passions she had put aside. She made room to rediscover who she was outside of love while simultaneously allowing herself to experience the agony without passing judgment. After several months, Mia came to the realization that she had not only recovered but also developed. Her identity had not been stolen by the heartache, rather, it had been strengthened, defined, and purified. Important healing lessons. 1. Feel completely, don't numb, accept the suffering, let it teach you, and refrain from using diversion as an escape. 2. Reconnect with yourself by finding interests, companions, and daily routines that support who you are. 3. Establish healthy boundaries, guard your vitality as you recover and think. 4. Trust the process, there is no timetable for healing, it is a journey. A tale of reflection and patience. A man named Alex was present. He hurried into new relationships to fill the void left by a heartbreaking breakup. However, every relationship felt fleeting, shallow, and disappointing. After a while, Alex understood that he had to take a break and recover by himself. He reflected on his requirements, emotional triggers, and routines for months. Alex started to feel complete again through journaling, isolation, and mindful practices. Her previous heartbreak strengthened her rather than defining her. He was able to re-enter love with clarity, self-assurance, and emotional maturity as a result of this process. Introspective questions. Take a moment to think. How do I usually react when I experience heartbreak? Am I allowing myself enough time to recover completely before looking for a connection? What routines support me in feeling rooted in my values and identity? Through reflection, you can understand that healing is about becoming more self-aware rather than about moving on fast. The strength of integrity-based healing. After heartbreak, true healing is active. It includes recognizing your suffering, accepting introspection, regaining your identity and limits. Your subsequent encounters with love will be more knowledgeable, deliberate, and healthful if you heal with integrity. A carry-along takeaway. It's possible to bounce back from heartbreak without losing who you are. You can be refined by pain rather than having it define you. You become stronger, smarter, and more prepared for love that values your development and genuineness when you give yourself permission to heal completely. We'll look at how to identify love that is in line with your heart in the upcoming chapter, as well as why experiencing grief makes you cherish connection more deeply and purposefully. Finding love that is genuinely resonant. After a breakup and the healing process, a new understanding comes to light. You start to view love as a profound connection that is in line with your heart and values rather than as a fantasy or as perfection. Heartbreak teaches you to distinguish. It enables you to recognize warning signs you have previously overlooked and value the traits that are most important to you in a mate. This chapter is about learning to recognize love that respects, challenges, and supports you. The significance of discernment. We frequently learn the following things from heartbreak. Things in partnerships that we cannot tolerate. What gives us a sense of security, visibility, and worth? The habits that no longer support our emotional development. This knowledge makes us more deliberate in our interactions with love. We gravitate toward connections that feel genuine and enduring rather than pursuing things that are transient or superficial. A tale about identifying genuine connection. Lily was a woman I once met. Lily had experienced a relationship that made her feel invisible and underappreciated. Following months of recovery, she saw the beginnings of a new relationship characterized by respect for one another, open communication, and a shared set of values. This love didn't feel like a cure for her loneliness like it had in the past. Alignment was the sensation. Although it wasn't flawless, no love ever is, it struck a deep chord with her. Lily had learned from heartbreak what to look for and what to stay away from. It enabled her to distinguish between genuine connection, comfort, and infatuation. Important things to know about love after heartbreak. 1. Recognize your non-negotiables. Going through a heartbreak makes it clear what you need and deserve. 2. Value emotional safety rather than causing insecurity. Healthy love fosters development. 3. Put alignment above intensity. A lasting relationship is more important than ephemeral emotion. 4. Trust your intuition. Your heart is frequently the first to detect love that is consistent with your ideals. A tale of awareness and patience. Daniel was one of the men. In the past, Daniel had hurried into relationships in an attempt to avoid loneliness following grief. Every one of them ended in disappointment, reiterating old habits he believed he had outgrown. Daniel finally stopped. He considered his past relationships, recorded his lessons learned, and made a list of his priorities. He knew right away when a new connection emerged, someone understanding, compassionate, and patient. He didn't pursue love for the first time. With the help of the lessons he learned from his loss and recovery process, he let it naturally fit with his ideals. Introspective questions. Take a moment to think. What tendencies from previous partnerships do I see and wish to stay away from? What characteristics of a spouse genuinely speak to my heart and values? How can I approach love without fear or haste, but with mindfulness and patience? You can approach relationships with clarity, intentionality, and emotional maturity when you reflect. The ability of discernment to transform. Although heartbreak hurts, it makes you more perceptive. Patience is taught via healing. Together, they also help you identify love that truly fits your heart. With discernment, love becomes more about sharing your life with someone who fosters your development, happiness, and tranquility rather than about wanting someone to fill voids. A carry-along takeaway. After experiencing heartbreak, you will perceive love in a different way. It won't be ostentatious or shallow. It will be based on mutual growth, respect, and alignment, the kind of relationship that values your path and your heart. We'll look at how trust and vulnerability may become your greatest assets in the upcoming chapter, as well as why learning from past heartbreak is the only way to truly open your heart. Trust and vulnerability are strengths. We frequently dread vulnerability following sorrow and recovery. We fear that reopening our hearts will result in suffering, disillusionment, or treachery. In actuality, however, vulnerability is power rather than weakness. Despite the risks, it requires courage to establish a close connection, communicate openly, and show complete transparency. Additionally, trust ceases to be an assumption and instead becomes a deliberate decision. First, we learn to trust ourselves, and then, with discretion and experience, we learn to selectively trust others. The significance of vulnerability. Without vulnerability, there can be no true connection. It permits real closeness rather than superficial communication. It makes room for understanding, empathy, and mutual development. It demonstrates your willingness to be genuine despite having experienced hurt. The lessons of heartbreak include the importance of self-respect, limits, and discernment. When weighed against these lessons, vulnerability turns from a risk of recurring suffering to a means of achieving meaningful love. An account of brave vulnerability. Ryan was a man I once met. Ryan was wary and reserved since he had experienced severe hurt in previous relationships. When Ryan met someone for the first time, the old worry of experiencing harm again crept in. Ryan, however, decided to speak candidly about his past, his anxieties, and his aspirations rather than to hide. He and his spouse developed a strong sense of trust and understanding as a result of this vulnerability. It made it possible for them to connect on a level that was impossible for superficial romanticism. Ryan had learned the value of patience through heartbreak, but he had also learned the strength of displaying his emotions with boldness. Important takeaways regarding trust and vulnerability. 1. Vulnerability is courage. Being vulnerable requires courage, particularly after being harmed. 2. Boundaries protect, not block. Openness and boundaries are both necessary for a healthy relationship. 3. You have to earn and provide trust wisely. Experience teaches you to be wise without being heartless. 4. Authenticity strengthens connection. When both individuals are truly seen and welcomed, love blossoms. A tale of equitable trust. Emily was one of the women. She found it difficult to trust after a traumatic split. She dreaded revealing her heart too soon, but she craved love. Emily discovered how to approach new relationships cautiously, paying attention to both words and deeds. She was forthright with her partner about her expectations, feelings, and previous teachings. Striking a balance between vulnerability and cautious trust established a secure, caring relationship that was genuine and long-lasting. Introspective questions. Take a moment to think. What does it mean to be vulnerable after experiencing heartbreak? Where can I exercise transparency while upholding sound boundaries? How can I tell if a new relationship is worth putting my confidence in? Reflection enables us to recognize that trust and vulnerability are the cornerstones of genuine, profound, and enduring love, not indicators of weakness. The transformational potential of brave love. Heartbreak sharpens our capacity for wise love. Healing strengthens our ability to connect fearlessly. Additionally, discernment makes sure we put money into partnerships that respect our hearts and foster personal development. Experience-driven vulnerability and trust turn into the cornerstones to lasting, genuine, and meaningful love. A carry-along takeaway. It takes courage to choose to open your heart again after experiencing heartbreak. Trust and vulnerability are assets, not liabilities. By accepting both, you allow love the opportunity to grow, thrive, and respect all that you have discovered during suffering and recovery. In the upcoming chapter, we will examine how love evolves into wisdom over time and how self-awareness, understanding, and patience enable your heart to feel the most complete and genuine connection. Love becomes wisdom. You have already experienced vulnerability, discernment, healing, and heartbreak. You've regained your identity, absorbed the lessons of suffering, and bravely opened your heart once more. Understanding how love becomes wisdom is the last step. Not every relationship will be flawless, and not every love will endure forever. However, each event helps you grow emotionally and learn the true meaning of love. The reason love turns into wisdom. Through grief and healing. You understand the distinction between a passing fancy and a genuine attachment. You are aware that maintaining love requires self-respect and boundaries. Emotional intelligence, patience, and presence strengthen relationships. Experience, introspection, and deliberate decision-making lead to wisdom in love. It enables you to approach upcoming relationships with compassion, clarity, and intentionality. A tale of love turning into wisdom. Sophia was a woman I once met. Sophia had gone through several unhappy relationships. She was broken each time, but she also gave her experiences a lot of thought. Sophia came to the stunning realization that each grief had served as a teacher over the years. She gained the ability to discern partners who shared her ideals and to clearly express her own emotional demands. Her response to a new relationship was one of understanding rather than fear. Her trip had made her love more thoughtful, balanced, and enriched. It was no more reactive or reliant. Important teachings on wisdom and love. 1. Experience sharpens perception. Every breakup teaches you what's really important. 2. Self-awareness promotes connection. Relationships that are healthier are made possible by having a better understanding of your own heart. 3. Patience builds depth. The love of wisdom unfolds gradually instead of abruptly. 4. Compassion and empathy strengthen relationships. Being wise enables you to love completely while honoring both your own and other people's boundaries. A tale concerning emotional development. A man by the name of Julian was there. Julian found it difficult to trust after experiencing severe trauma in his early 20s. He identified patterns he had unintentionally repeated after years of introspection, and he made a conscious effort to alter them. He approached the relationship with self-awareness, patience, and openness after he discovered a new partner. Love felt different now, Julian realized, deeper, calmer, and more in line with his principles and heart. He was now a person who could love more fully and wisely because of what had once broken him. Introspective questions. Take a moment to think. In what ways have previous heartbreaks influenced my conception of love? How has my emotional development altered the way I view relationships? How can I build stronger, more meaningful relationships using the lessons I've learned from love and suffering? Every heartbreak, moment of doubt, and act of vulnerability has taught us about love, as we can see when we reflect. The lessons of love's transformative power. Vulnerability, insight, healing, and heartbreak all lead to wisdom. Without guiding principles, love no longer feels like a risk or a chance. Rather, it turns into a journey that is guided by introspection, experience, and emotional intelligence. Love is profound, genuine, and enduring because of this insight, but it is not flawless. A carry-along takeaway. You cannot truly comprehend love unless you have gone through heartbreak. However, your heart grows stronger, smarter, and more capable of genuine connection when you heal, think, and approach future love with knowledge. Love is about the lessons that shape you and prepare you for relationships that honor your growth and heart, not just joy or grief. We appreciate your participation in Wisdom Words. If this video spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need a reminder that heartbreak is a teacher leading the path to more genuine, deeper love rather than the end. Keep in mind that every encounter, lesson, and brave act of love fortifies your heart and your comprehension of what it means to love completely. Breathe, think, and let your heart become more enlightened with every encounter until the next time.